I didn't put a video out last week because we've had some stuff happen that really has had quite an impact on us. Well, I can only speak for myself, but it's the sort of thing that makes you think about friendship, about relationships, and about how you know people, and sometimes how you don't know people. So yeah, it's been quite tough. No two ways about it. It's been very tough, and that's what I want to talk about. Now, I've been really lucky with over the years. I've made some really good friends, right? And that's through place, through proximity, through families, through just similar interests, similar hobbies, and sometimes from work as well. There's some people that I've met as part of my working career that I've just kept in touch with, and because of the kind of thing that I do, I end up meeting people from all walks of life in all parts of the world. What was my oldest standing friend, he lived next door to me, and we knew each other for nearly 50 years. Yeah, I'm that old. And the events of the last few days, brought all that back. You see, that friend turned out to be an addict. His drug of choice was alcohol, and the problem with that is that I believed that he was telling me the truth. I knew that he lied to other people. I saw it happen. But I always believed that he was being honest with me. But of course, how could he be honest with me if he wasn't even being honest with himself? He'd tell me that he'd wake up in the morning and he'd have his leveller. This is the extent it was at. And I said, what on earth is a leveller? And he said, well, I'll pour a pint of spritzer. I'm like, what? He said, half soda water, half wine. And you drink that in the morning to just stop feeling shit. And then he'd go to work on that, work a full day, and then have more wine and whatever in the evening. Anyway, it came to many long time in the future, and he borrowed money from me stupidly. I believed that he was being honest with me, knowing full well that he told me a few porcupines in the past. Sure enough, he did it on me, and that made me really question the whole concept of what friendship was, what friends were to each other, and having this image and this perception of this person for nearly 50 years, it really does rock your world when you think, is it me? Yeah. And that came back to the fore with recent events. Then there's the other end of the scale. Again, long-term friendships that I met my mate Carlin. Right, I met my mate Carlin. God, what was I? Probably about 6 or 7 years old. And then we moved into middle school together, same one. And we got on really well, and very similar interests, madly into the skateboarding, and then races. That was we had our races, and we used to go for miles and miles and miles. And that then led to a friendship that's still in place today. And we met up with another bunch of guys from school and kept in touch and saw on a regular basis. So that's another group of friends. And then you get the other kind of friends that it's really hard to place why friendship occurs. The four-legged friends. So we've had pets in the family. I had pets as a kid, and then when I had my own family, I suggested to my wife at the time, we got a really young child, and I said, I think we ought to have a dog as well. It'd be great for her to have a dog to grow up with, kind of like I did. And she was like, no, that's not a good idea. I'm like, yeah, we're definitely, you're cheating them out of their childhood if they don't experience what pets are like. I really bribed her, it's pretty bad. So we ended up, we got this dog, we got this golden retriever, and we called him Dudley. What I didn't realise is that instead of him just being my pet, he became the family pet. He was there all the time around the kids. He played with them. When Rosie was really young, he was so gentle and so careful, and he'd be put up. She used to just climb all over him, jump on him, and he'd be playing and just nudge her and play with her, and it was amazing to see. And then Tom as well. Tom used to take him for walks, and Dudley would watch Tom and be with Tom all the time, loved to play with Tom. In fact, Tom was a little frustrated because he got to the age of 11 or 12, and he used to go and like shooting with his air rifle. He'd go out hunting, and he was determined he was going to go and hunt for some food for us. So he went out and he was hiding in ditches, and he sat in there for flipping ages. And Dudley was pining at the door, so my wife let Dudley out. Of course, he goes bombing over to Tom. Tom's like barking and he's jumping all up and down, and Tom was absolutely gutted because he never got to catch or shoot anything because of the dog. He blamed it always on the dog, that the dog had blown his chances. And then we ended up moving out of Worcester, and we came to Cornwall, and we get to experience beaches and get to take the family and the pets on these fantastic walks, and we get to go and wander across at Sunset Beach, such as Crantock, or over the way at Falmouth, at Gilly Beach there, or Castle Beach, or there's so many around us. We've got so many. We're kind of spoilt for choice. It's pretty awesome. So we take the dogs and let them have a wander around, and Dudley have his penchant for eating the seaweed as much as he could carry, which it wasn't surprising actually. It didn't make him bad, but he was all right with it. And of course, when we had the new dog, Minnie, a miniature dachshund, she was an absolute dot, so small. And yet Dudley, massive dog as he is, he was so careful again. Treated Minnie just like he did Rosie. Very careful, very conscientious, just to play and let her come to him, and it's amazing to watch. So careful to see. And it's only now that whilst I've been going through the history of him with the family, that you really get to see how careful and considerate he was with each and every one of us. Claire keeps on recounting the time that Dudley, as a young dog, very young dog, I think he was only about 18 months, 2 years old, she took Rosie out in the pushchair, and one of the local dogs came running out, growling and barking. So Dudley decided to put himself in between that dog and Rosie to become the protector. So it's only now that I'm going back through the history of the photographs, I'm coming across all of the walks that we went on, and the friendship that he provided to Tom, to Rosie, to Claire, and to myself.
You can learn a bit here.
He was a shit guard dog. He really was terrible. Whenever anybody came to the house, Dudley would run out with a toy, drop them at his feet, and then push against them so that they had to fuss him. He wasn't interested in barking he wanted to play and play fuss. Unless, of course, there was imminent signs of danger. Then he changed, and he would act and stand in between whoever it was and the kids. It's funny how you don't see it at the time, but you only see it later on. Now I know that a lot of this is that human emotional projection stuff. So dogs don't experience feelings in the way that we do as humans, and humans do tend to project our emotions onto our pets and animals and treat them as if humans and pretend that they've got real human emotions, but that's not possible. It's not the way. Animals don't think like that. But it's very hard to distinguish that when you can see them acting in such a way that they're putting themselves behind you, behind the kids, behind everything else that forms that family unit. So much so that you sometimes you don't notice those incremental changes day by day, but they're there, and you can sometimes get quite a shock when those changes happen quickly and they're too significant, and that's what happened recently. You see, Dud's he had an accident many years ago, and he got quite a lot of surgery carried out on his back end, and he's got plates in his back, and he's got he's had a lot of work done to him. He was pretty poorly. I mean, it really was touch and go for a while whether or not he's actually going to make it, but he made it. Strong dog, he pulled through. He's got the highest pain threshold of anything that I've ever come across. No human could match how much he could stand and just carry on. So it's amazing his sense of will and his strength. But he did it, and he carried on and kept going. But over the years, you could see that was starting to cause him grief. And he'd got arthritis in his back end. And we put him on some medication, which helped him for it. But then a fateful Friday afternoon, he came back after a small walk, because we couldn't take him on the long walks anymore. He just couldn't make it, and his back end had given out. Managed to get him back up on his feet, and he was okay and seemed to be able to hobble about. Then only a few hours it had gone again. It came to the point that he just could not get up, not without assistance. And when we did give him assistance, he started to growl. He was very uncomfortable, and you could see that he was really suffering. So much so that, I mean, it's not nice to say, but he'd been incontinent for, a number of months, possibly a year. So inevitably, we wake up in the morning, we'd have to check the house and clean up and that sort of thing, which is never nice, but you're caring for an elderly member of the family, so you make allowances. But this was different. This was different to the point that he was so stressed. He obviously couldn't get up and do anything about it. And even when I tried to carry him outside to help him out, he couldn't do it. So we took the tough decision to get a vet to come out to the house and give him an injection to help him relax and sleep, and then let him pass over. And it's the hardest thing to do is to take your friend and take their life. But it's just so sad. It's a bit, in a month and a bit, he'd have been 15 years old, which is what, 105 years old. So in dog years, 7 years difference. So it's quite a substantial age that he'd managed to reach. But yeah, friendship. I don't think I'll ever experience another friendship quite like that. I think that is one of a kind. I have come close, but nothing. I don't think I'll ever experience that again. So that's all I've got to say.
Happy birthday, dear Dudley. Happy birthday to you. Dudley dog, happy birthday. Happy birthday. You're going to blow out your candle. Look, you're one today.